It was one of those quiet evenings when life feels heavier than usual. Mark Sullivan sat at his small kitchen table, staring at a stack of unpaid bills while his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, colored pictures beside him. Being a single dad wasn't easy. Some days felt like climbing a mountain with no end in sight. That night, Mark made a decision that would unknowingly change his life forever. To make ends meet, he posted an ad online offering to rent out the small spare bedroom in his modest home. What he didn't know was that the girl who would answer that ad wasn't just a college student looking for a place to stay. She was the daughter of one of the richest men in America. But the most surprising part of this story isn't about money. It's about kindness. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stories like this remind us that small acts of kindness can change lives. Welcome to Hidden Truth Stories, where we uncover the powerful truths hidden inside everyday moments. Mark Sullivan lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Columbus, Ohio. His house wasn't big, and it definitely wasn't fancy. The paint on the porch railing was starting to peel, and the fence in the backyard leaned slightly to one side. But inside, the home was full of warmth. After his wife passed away 3 years earlier, Mark had done everything he could to give Lily a stable life. He worked long hours as a mechanic at a local garage, often coming home with grease on his hands and exhaustion in his bones. Still, every evening he helped Lily with homework, cook dinner, and read her bedtime stories. But raising a child alone was expensive. Between school supplies, groceries, and the mortgage, Mark was struggling to keep up. Renting out the spare bedroom seemed like the only option left. 2 days after posting the ad, Mark received a message from a college student named Emily Carter. She said she was starting her first semester at a nearby university and needed an affordable place to stay. She sounded polite, responsible, and respectful. When Mark invited her to see the room, she arrived the next afternoon. Emily stepped out of a simple silver sedan, carrying a small suitcase and a backpack. She looked like any other college student: jeans, a sweater, and a warm smile. "Hi, Mr. Sullivan," she said. "Thank you for meeting with me." Mark showed her the small bedroom upstairs. It had a single bed, a wooden desk, and a window that looked out toward the backyard. "It's not much," Mark said honestly. "But it's clean, and you're welcome to use the kitchen anytime." Emily looked around the room quietly. Then she smiled. "It's perfect," she said. Within a week, Emily moved in. Life quickly settled into a comfortable routine. Emily attended classes during the day and often studied at the small kitchen table in the evenings. Lily adored her almost immediately. Emily helped Lily with math homework, listened to her stories about school, and sometimes even braided her hair before bedtime. One evening, Mark came home from work and found the kitchen filled with laughter. Emily and Lily were attempting to bake cookies, though judging by the flour covering the counter and the floor it wasn't going perfectly. Should I be concerned?" Mark joked. Lily giggled. Emily said cooking is just science with snacks. Mark couldn't remember the last time the house had felt so alive. Emily paid her rent on time every month and never complained about the simple living conditions. In fact, she often helped around the house without being asked. She washed dishes, fixed Lily's broken school project, and even planted flowers in the small garden out front. To Mark, she was just a kind, hard-working college student. What he didn't know was that Emily Carter came from a world completely different from his. Her father, Daniel Carter, was a billionaire tech entrepreneur whose company had recently made headlines across the country. Emily had grown up in luxury private schools, large homes, and family vacations on private jets. But after turning 18, Emily wanted something different. She wanted to understand real life. Instead of living in a luxury apartment paid for by her father, she secretly decided to experience life on her own. She searched for a simple place where people treated each other with genuine kindness. That search led her to Mark's little house. And it was exactly what she had hoped for. Months passed. One cold winter morning, Mark's old pickup truck refused to start. He sighed as he lifted the hood, knowing repairs would cost money he didn't have. Emily noticed his frustration. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Just the truck," Mark said. "It's how I get to work. I'll figure something out." Later that day, Emily quietly made a phone call. The next morning, a mechanic arrived and repaired the truck. When Mark asked how it was paid for, the mechanic simply said, "It was taken care of." Mark assumed it must have been a mistake or some kind of delayed payment plan. He never suspected Emily. Another time, Lily's school announced a field trip that required a fee Mark couldn't afford. He told Lily gently that maybe next time would be better. That evening, Emily quietly spoke to the school office. The next day, Lily came home excited. "Dad, they said someone sponsored my trip." Mark smiled, relieved. But again, he had no idea who was behind it. Emily never told him. For her, kindness wasn't something you announced. It was something you did quietly. Then one evening, everything changed. A black luxury SUV pulled up in front of the house. Mark looked out the window, confused. A tall man in an expensive suit stepped out and walked toward the door. When Mark opened it, the man extended his hand. "Good evening. My name is Daniel Carter." The name sounded familiar. Then Mark's eyes widened. Daniel Carter, the billionaire whose company appeared on the news almost every week. Before Mark could speak, Emily walked into the hallway behind him. "Dad," she said softly. Mark froze. "Wait, your dad?" Emily nodded. Daniel Carter looked around the modest home with a thoughtful expression. "My daughter has been living here for 6 months, he said. And I wanted to meet the man who treated her like family." Mark felt completely stunned. I had no idea," he said. Daniel smiled. "That's exactly why she chose this place." They sat down in the living room. Emily explained everything: how she wanted to live independently and see how people treated each other without money influencing their actions. "And you passed the test without even knowing there was one," Daniel said to Mark. Mark laughed nervously. "I didn't know there was a test." Daniel's expression turned sincere. "My daughter told me how you work long hours to support Lily. How you helped her feel welcome from the first day. How you treat people with respect, even when life is difficult." He paused. "That kind of character is rare." Then Daniel said something Mark never expected. "I'd like to offer you an opportunity. My company funds community programs across the country. We're opening a new automotive training center in the city, and we need someone honest and experienced to manage it." Mark stared at him. "Me?" "You," Daniel said. "Because kindness and integrity matter more than resumes." A few months later, Mark began his new job. The training center helped young people learn mechanical skills and find stable careers. Mark loved every minute of it. His income improved, the bills stopped piling up, and Lily proudly told everyone that her dad was helping people build better futures. Emily continued visiting the house often, still helping Lily with homework and baking cookies. To her, that small house had become a second home. Years later, Mark would tell people something simple. The best thing that ever happened to him wasn't meeting a billionaire. It was choosing kindness when no one was watching. Because kindness has a quiet power. You never know whose life you might touch, or how that kindness might one day come back to you. So today, remember this: every small act of kindness matters. A warm welcome. A helping hand. A moment of understanding. These simple things can change lives in ways we never expect. And sometimes, the greatest stories begin with nothing more than an open door and a kind heart.